Yes, yeah, best believe. Explore and learn new things.
Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same species. Reproduction is essential for the survival and evolution of life on Earth. And there is two main types of reproduction: asexual and sexual reproduction. The asexual reproduction is the production of offspring by a single parent without involvement of gametes. Asexual reproduction results in genetically identical offspring, which mean they have the same DNA as the parent. And asexual reproduction is common in bacteria, fungi, plants, and some animals. Some examples of asexual reproduction are binary fusion, budding, fragmentation, spore formation, and vegetative. The sexual reproduction is the production of offspring by the fusion of gametes from two parents. Sexual reproduction results in genetically diverse offspring, which means they have different combination of DNA from both parents. Sexual reproduction is common in animals and some plants. Some examples of sexual reproduction are fertilization, pollination, and seed formation. And in this lesson, we'll learn how to compare asexual and sexual reproduction, how to identify the advantage and disadvantage of each type of reproduction. You will also learn how to describe the different method of asexual and sexual reproduction. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to apply the concept of asexual and sexual reproduction. So first, we will discuss the reproduction process, what we mean by reproduction, and the types of reproduction. So the reproduction process is a process, it's a biological process where the living organism produce new individuals of the same kind and thus ensuring the continuity and preserve the species from extinction. And the type of reproduction are asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. First, the asexual reproduction is the type of reproduction or a process by which a living organism produce new individuals with genetic traits identical to the parent, and it occurs only by one living organism. It happens in unicellular organisms such as yeast, amoeba, bacteria, and in some multicellular organisms like hydra, starfish, and mushrooms. And the properties of asexual reproduction that it takes place by only one living organism. It doesn't require a special system or special organs to reproduce gametes. It takes place by mitotic division, and it keeps the genetic structure of living organism intact. It doesn't change the genetic makeup of the living organism. And asexual reproduction produces new individuals identical in genetic structure to the parent because it happens by mitotic division. So the new offspring gets a full copy of the parent genetic traits, and the number of chromosomes in the parent cell is 2n, and the number of chromosomes in the produced cell is also 2n. So there is no difference in resulting offspring from the original organism. So what are the types or method of asexual reproduction? We have binary fusion, budding, regeneration, spore propagation, and vegetative reproduction. The binary fusion, it happens in unicellular organisms such as protozoans, amoeba, egolina, bacteria, some simple algae, and promisium. And in the binary fusion, the nucleus divide by mitotic division, and the cell split into two cells. And then each cell grows to become an individual amoeba, and by the end of the binary fusion, the parent cell disappears because it split into two new cells. the nucleus divides, and then the cells are dividing to two new cells, identical to the parent cell. The second type is budding, and the budding occurs in unicellular organisms like yeast and fungus, multicellular organisms like hydra and sponge. And how it happens is that when the yeast start to reproduce, a bud emerge from the cell, and the nucleus divide into two cells. One of them remains in the parent cell, and the new cells migrate to the bud, and then the bud start to grow, and it might be split or separate from the parent cell, forming a new yeast or a new fungus, or remain contact with the parent cell, forming a colony. And here is an example of how the budding happens. The third method is regeneration, and it happens or occurs in multicellular organisms like starfish, and it happens by a growing of an amputated part to forming a new complete individuals by mitotic division. So the regeneration is the ability of an organism to compensate their missing parts. So when a starfish loses one of its arms, the remains part, the missing part, grow and reproduce by mitotic division to form a complete organism, and the amputated part also reproduce by mitotic division or grow by mitotic division, forming a complete organism. And here a video showing a planaria worm as it regenerates. The tail that was cut grow ahead. The next type is spore propagation and occurs in some fungi, bread mold and mushroom, and some simple algae. So the spores are found in a bread mold kept inside an organ called sporangium. So the mycelia carry the sporangium. So when the sporangium explode, the spores release, and when they fall in a suitable environment, they grow a new bread mold individuals. And here, how the spores released from the mushrooms. The final example is vegetative reproduction, and it occurs in plant vegetative organs like leaves, roots, and stem, and that happens to produce a new identical plant from the parent plant. And vegetative reproduction happens without the need of any seed because it happens by mitotic division, and it can be naturally by planting and vegetative organs, leaves or root or stem in the soil, or artificially like tissue culture. Second, the sexual reproduction is a process by which a living organism produces new individuals with traits different from parents, and it happens in most multicellular organisms like higher plants and animals. And the properties of sexual reproduction, it occurs by two different individuals, one of them male and the other is female. or takes place by special reproductive organs to produce the gametes, takes place by meiotic division, and doesn't keep the genetic material because there is a variation in the genetic materials happening in meiotic division. So the sexual reproduction is a source of genetic variation due to the occurrence of crossing over phenomena during formation of gametes by meiotic division, and the offspring result from the sexual reproduction gets one copy of his trait or half of his genetic material from one parent and the other half from the other parent. And it depends on two main processes, gametes formation and fertilization. In the gametes formation, gametes of a male or male form in a living organism reproductive organs by meiotic division, and the gametes contain half the number of chromosomes in the reproductive somatic cell. The fertilization is the fusion of the male gametes and the female gametes forming zygote, and the zygote contains materials from both parents, and when it grows, it gives a new offspring of a new gametes containing the half number of the genetic materials. So the female gives the ova and the male gives the sperm. Each of them contain half number of chromosomes, and when fertilization happens, they form the zygote, which contains the complete number of chromosomes forming the new individuals.